Blog Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, good morning. This is Lori Smith on Blog Talk Radio. It is 6 o'clock here in the morning, Tuesday morning, October the 11th, and I'm glad to be here. This is One Child Abuse Survivor to Another. We're on for 30 minutes. It's a live streaming internet radio broadcast from blogtalkradio.com. And we're going to continue on looking at the inner child healing work, just a different website. Robert Burney's web pages are awesome. We finished up there last week, and really he has so much stuff on his website. A lot of it to deal with relationships and codependency, inner child healing work, and whatnot. Robert Burney he's awesome. He's a codependence therapist, grief counselor. He's an author. He's written a book called Codependence: The Dance of Wounded Souls. And we were on that those web pages for about probably 4 months, 3.5, 4 months, something like that. And but that's some good stuff, and I really learned a lot. So hopefully, you'll get something out of this show. I'm not a counselor or a therapist. I'm not a professional. I'm just a private citizen paying to do my show here on Blog Talk Radio. This is like 800 and something shows I've done, and I'm just, want to be one more voice, speaking out about abuse and talking about the issues surrounding abuse and speaking out against abuse, right? And this show really, is my healing journey here in the morning, one child abuse survivor to another. And I'm just kind of going through stuff that I'm going through right now. It's sort of my healing journey. And I'm working on the inner child healing work right now, mainly working with Robert Burney's stuff as well as John Bradshaw's books and whatnot. But I happened to stumble across this website looking around and at more inner child healing stuff. And it's called Soul Expressions, Abuse Recovery. And so I want to take a look at a few of the articles here on there's some good stuff on this website. And it's www.soul-expressions-abuse-recovery.com. And I did pop the link into the chat room there. So we'll just get right into this. I'm working on my inner child healing work. You have to listen to all my shows at your own discretion. I'm talking about abuse, and abuse is a sensitive subject, and, it can trigger survivors. And it, if you feel like the topics of abuse might bother you, then you have to do the right thing and turn it off. Like it's clearly your discretion to listen to any or all of my shows. And they're not for younger children. And, so anyone under the age of 18, I just ask that you have an adult listen to the show with you so they can help you make a decision whether or not it's age appropriate for you. Because I have no idea how young the people are who are listening to my shows, right? So, keep yourself safe and learn how to keep yourself safe online, right? Internet safety is huge. It's a huge issue, and you want to make sure that if you're under the age of 18, that you know how to protect yourself online. And so yeah, I'm just a private citizen. Like I said, I'm a survivor of child abuse, and I'm just working through my healing journey. I've been on my healing journey since since May 2007, but I didn't really start doing the work until I would say right around the time that I started these shows, actually a little bit before, because I started writing a blog in October of 2009. And when I started writing this blog in October 2009, that's when I really started to look into the issues of, how I was going to change my behavioral, stuff that I had learned as a child, and how I was going to change, some of the stuff that I've been doing, like self-sabotaging and whatnot. So I started looking into it. And then when I started doing these shows, I realized that, so I had already been on my healing journey, and I thought, I'll just do these shows, and hopefully it'll help somebody else out as well to see, like, the process that I'm going through. What works for me may not work for somebody else. What works for somebody else may not work for me. So we're all different. We all need different things. But, my big message is just never give up, and never stop looking for what's going to help you. And as a survivor of abuse, we got to look for that help and that hope where we can find it. And we need to be our own best advocates, get the help that we need. I'm doing my stuff self-help with the help of some friends and a good friend of mine, Gypsy Witch, who happens to be in the chat room here today. And hello, Gypsy Witch. I'm glad you can be here. And, I'm doing this not really self-help because I have a lot of friends and I have a lot of support. I don't have any local support. I just, as far as my healing journey goes. But I do have friends that are helping me out that live thousands and thousands of miles away from me. But it's not really like being on my own because they're here for me, and I know that. But I'm not doing, any formal like counseling or therapy or anything like that. I'm just doing this self-help. And I told myself at the beginning of my healing journey in 2007 that if I needed professional help, I was going to go get it. If I couldn't do this self-help, then I was going to reach out and actually get a counselor or a therapist. And so that's a commitment I made to myself, and I've actually been able to I've been doing quite well doing self-help, so I haven't felt the need really to reach out to a therapist or a counselor. I'm working through my stuff, but it's hard, and so I wouldn't suggest that for everybody. And like, especially with this inner child healing work, you want to make sure you're safe enough to do this work. Like, it's not easy, and it's not easy to go back and look at what happened to us as children and have to, try to make sense of it and deal with it and feel it, grieve it, mourn it, and do what we need to do with it in order to release it, right? Which is what I'm working on. I haven't released it yet because I haven't even properly grieved it or properly mourned it or properly gotten angry about it. So I'm actually working through just the beginning sort of phases of my inner child healing work. So that's what we're doing here today. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I've got over 40,000 shows listened to. I was looking at the numbers there last night, and that's a lot of shows. I appreciate everybody who's tuning into my shows. I've done about, over 800 now. November will be 2 years on here, and I just kept talking and talking and talking. And so I really appreciate everybody who's tuned into my shows. Like, that's a lot of time to spend with somebody, and a lot of people are spending, parts of their day with me for like 2 years, and I really appreciate that. That's a huge, a huge thing for me. I really, I'm very thankful, and I appreciate it. So we'll get right into this particular article from Soul Expressions Abuse Recovery. I just want to kind of take a look at the very beginning of what she says. She's a therapist, and she's a counselor actually, and her name's Becky. And she's got this web page, actually quite a few web pages. It's a huge website, and she says, "Are you ready to recover from sexual abuse?" And there is work on here for the inner child and whatnot, and that's kind of what I want to cover. I don't think we'll look through the whole website, but I just wanted to sort of go through what she says about a few things because it's quite interesting. Because she's a survivor, and she, just like Robert Burney, she's a survivor, and she's also a therapist, right? Well, a counselor, really. So, she says she's got forums on here. She talks about sexual abuse, depression, eating disorders, PTSD, self-abusive behaviors, sexual issues, victim to survivor, which is kind of what I want to look at, abuse cycle, intimacy issues, parenting issues, nightmares. She goes on to talk about like spirituality, sacred place, meditation, nature, religion, prayer, art therapy process, recovery rituals, which I want to take a look at. You can contact her on her website. She's got her story is there, maintaining in recovery, healing inner child, which is what I want to look at, abuse, anger, how to forgive. This is the whole section I want to look at right here. Self-esteem, wounded healer, poetry, soul store. She's got dissociation information, body memories, abuse facts, teen rape. She talks about her passion, grieving, date rape, drugs, all kinds of stuff. Like, she's got everything here about, like the substance abuse, the intimacy ebook, and she has a new forum. So it's a great website. Looks very, very inclusive. You can actually get a hold of her when she's online. And she's got a little button there that actually shows when she's online, so if you want to chat with her, you can. And I think this is really awesome. I love what she's doing. And her name's Becky, but I don't know anything about her. You know what I mean? Like, I just found this website. And so, she just says here on the very beginning, this is home. There's a home page. She says, do you feel that you have been sexually abused? She says, do you have fear of the dark, nightmares or night terrors, a poor body image, difficulty with swallowing or gagging, phobias, panic attacks, anxiety or a startled response, a need to wear excessive clothing, a feeling like you have an empty black hole inside of you, a need to diet continually, obsessively, throw up after eating, feelings of suicide, addictions, compulsive behaviors, obsessions, anger, rage, the inability to say no, the need to cut on yourself, sexual issues, guilt, shame, flashbacks, feelings that are crazy or different, blocked memories or forgotten blocks of time. These are questions she asks, and she says, if you have answered yes to many of these questions, you're not crazy. You were probably sexually abused as a child, she says. Most of our memories from early childhood, especially before age 5 or 6, are not going to be what we would call accurate, but rather a snapshot. However, if you think you were abused, chances are you were abused. Sexual abuse is not something we would want to happen, and very few people would want to think up false stories of something so painful. Beginning the road to recovery begins with dealing with your abuse memories, and this can be a scary thing. You don't have to make the journey alone. And so she's online to speak with people directly. She says, you can click on this little icon thing on her website, like it shows whether she's online or not. She says Monday through Saturday she's on from 8 to 5. And I don't know if that's like Eastern Standard Time or Pacific Standard Time. I don't know where she's at. So, but you can leave a message with her, and then she'll speak with you if try to get back to you. She says, I've been a counselor for survivors of sexual abuse for 16 years, and I'm also a survivor myself. I will share with you methods that help me in my recovery from sexual abuse through art therapy, spirituality, and healing your inner child. And I've been where you are, and I know what it is to feel scared and alone, and you don't have to feel alone anymore. So this is her she's telling people, that she just wants to help people. She says, I will teach you about your abuse, how to begin your recovery by expressing your deep, dark, scary feelings through creative art therapy, how to discover the inner strength inside of you through your connection with God and your spirituality. She says, do you know that if you were sexually abused as a child, you have a wounded child inside of you? Did you also know that this wounded, hurt child has probably been making your decisions for you most of your life? And that's what we were talking about all through the last 3.5 months, really, is looking at Robert Burney's web pages, talking about these inner children that are driving the bus. They're making the decisions for us. Like my decisions based on, like relationship stuff mainly, is all, really coming from my inner children, saying, okay, we don't want to be hurt again, so so me, the adult, would probably make a different decision after thinking things through clearly. My inner children are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and they're wounded, and they're just like, okay, we can't trust anybody, let's just shut everything off, let's just shut this down, because they don't want to get hurt, right? And so a lot of my decisions are made based on my wounded inner self from so long ago, right? So he says, this lady here says, Becky says, it took me 20 years to let go of my pain from abuse and to heal my inner child. You don't have to wait that long. And abuse, she says, can rob you of your spirituality. You may feel rejected, unloved, worthless, disconnected from, and abandoned by your Creator. The truth is, God is still there waiting to love you. And she says, I will show you ways you can reconnect and to rediscover your spirituality no matter what your faith may be. And she says, you can choose to move from victim to survivor. You don't have to feel depressed, carry secrets, feel bad about yourself, have nightmares, stay in unhealthy relationships, and feel alone forever. She says, one important note, this is not to take the place of professional therapy or treatment. If you feel severely depressed, like harming yourself or someone else, seek professional help immediately. And she says, recovery is a decision that you want things to change in your life. The thing about change is that it is never without discomfort, whether good or bad. And I heard someone say once that change is like turbulence you feel on a plane. It doesn't matter if you're moving into the storm or moving out of the storm into the sunlight. It's a bumpy ride sometimes, but worth it if you are tired of feeling the way you do right now. And she says, do you feel like it is time to make change? Are you ready to let go of your pain that is familiar to try something new? And that's a good question, that's the whole issue right there. That's where I'm at, I'm so used to feeling this way. I'm so used to, as a survivor of abuse, right? I didn't just grow up in this home where everything was great for about 10 years, the first 10 years of my life. Then I experienced, 2 months of some abuse, or 2 years, and then all of a sudden it got great again. My situation was, I was born into this home where everybody was just a mess. It was a chaos, and there was a lot of hatred and a lot of negative stuff, And the whole family had already fallen apart, way before I was born, and so it was very dysfunctional, and no one was getting along. It's not like they tried to get along because there was a new baby in the family. Basically, I was looked at as a burden, one more child to feed, one more child to look after. My mother didn't have the strength. She didn't have the energy, and she certainly didn't want another child. And the two before me were stillborn, and we were born out of rape. My dad was forcing himself on her, so it wasn't a happy thing like when I was born, and it wasn't a happy home when I was born. It was just a home that was full of all kinds of abuse that had been going on for years before I was born. So I was born into this stuff, and so for me, people would say, well, how come you just can't change yourself? Well, this is because this is me. You know what I mean? This is me. If I can't just completely eradicate myself. You know what I mean? I could pretend and go into denial and just try to be somebody else. But that's just not to me, that's not getting better. That's just recreating something else as a false false image. You know what I mean? Like I'm just me, and this is who I am, and I have to be okay with that. And I realized that a long time ago because I wasn't okay with that for so long. That's pretty well why I wanted to kill myself. I wanted out. I was hoping my mother would kill me when I was about 10 years old because she was the most physically abusive person towards me by the time I was 10. And I thought, yeah, maybe she'll kill me. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead. You know, like I was dead at that point. And so, you know, like that's me, right? I mean, I have to be okay with myself. Like I have to, you know, I have to be okay with myself. So in other words, I can't go back and say, oh, well, you know, I can let go of some of this pain and I can let go of actually all of it. Let's just say, this is hypothetically, I could go back and let go of all the pain. I'm still stuck with me. You know, like I'm still stuck with the fact that there was never a time where I was wanted. There was never a time when I was loved. There was absolutely never a time when I was looked upon as a blessing in the family. You know, like there was never a time that people were happy that I was on the earth in my own family. So you know, other people in my life have shown me that, which is great because that's how I really learned about love, and I learned about the fact that, you know, we all are all the gifts, you know, we all are gifts to each other, right? We should be blessings to each other, you know, friends blessing each other's lives just by being in them, you know what I mean? Like I have friends that are such a blessing to me, you know, I hope I'm a blessing to them, right? So this is what I'm trying to get at. So, you know, and I know that as an adult, right? But I can't go back and I can let go of the pain. I'm still stuck with me, you know? So I'm not going to ever be a bubbly, joyous person walking around, you know, on cloud nine, right? Because this is my personality. That's not me, you know. But what I can do is learn how to let go of some of the negative stuff that was put on me, you know. And that's what I'm going to work on trying to do is release some of the stuff that I've got going on in my heart because of what happened to me as a child. And will it completely ever go away? Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. It's not. I don't know if it'll ever really go away because then I would have to go away. You know, like honestly, like how can a person completely lose this whole thing and just all of a sudden become somebody new? You know what I mean? Like that's what people do when they dissociate. You know what I mean? Like I have no plans on dissociating now. I didn't really. I mean, it may have fragmented a bit there or dissociated for a bit when I was sexually abused as a child. But like otherwise, no, I pretty well remained, you know, who I am today. And so it's like, you know, I mean, it's kind of interesting. You know, this is exactly where I'm at. Are you ready to let go of your pain that is familiar to try something new? You know, I mean, like this is where I'm at exactly right here, right now. You know, it's like that's where I was 4.5 years ago. I was sitting there saying, do I have to be in this pain for the rest of my life? Like, do I have to suffer like this for the rest of my life? Do I have to be in this particular mindset? Do I have to be in this particular you know, frame of mind that I would want to hurt myself, self-injure, commit suicide, you know, just to end my pain? Like, isn't there some other way to do this? You know, and that's exactly the question. I mean, I was questioning the whole thing, and I said there has to be a way to get through this. You know, there has to be. Like, and it can't just be all about, you know, suffering for the rest of my life. Like that sucks. You know, I was able to pull off jobs, and I could work, and I could have friends, and I could go out and have a good time after work, and I could have a good time at people's homes, and, you know, go to see movies and run around and shop, and then come home and sit on the couch and say, well, now I'm stuck with me. Now I'm back, you know, back in the same old thing, that same old familiar territory. So I was really living kind of like two different lifestyles, and I still do even today. And that's why I'm kind of, you know, working like through this, right? And it's taken time. And like this little woman here says, it took her 20 years, and she says, well, she hopes that it doesn't take us 20 years, you know. And I'm certainly hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping that it doesn't take me 20 years to figure it out. But the thing is, you know, like at least if we start the healing journey, you know, and get on it, then it doesn't really matter how long it takes. It's just the fact that like, for instance, like today, 4.5 years later, like March really or April of next year would be 5 years. You know, I'm in such a better place than I ever have been in my lifetime. You know, like almost 5 years later, like I don't have any more suicidal thoughts. Like, okay, I want to end my life and I just want out of this pain. I'm no longer sitting around with the same levels of anger going on. A lot of my anger has been diffused just because I've been able to talk about what happened to me, and I've been able to write books about it, which originally started out as a blog and then turned into a book, and then, it's kind of been, and the friends that I've had and made in my life in the last couple of years, have made a huge difference. So, yeah, I'm starting to learn that that it's doable, that I can do this, and am I there? No. You know what I mean? Like, I have days and nights where I probably have every day and every night that I don't, that I'm in this sort of the same mindset. Even last night I was sitting around kind of real bummed out and just thinking about stuff because I had been on a show talking about some stuff with here on Blog Talk Radio, and I was just part of a guest panel, and just it brings up memories, and these memories are so close to me really because I'm writing a book right now about the child sexual abuse that I suffered, and this stuff doesn't go away. You know what I mean? It doesn't go away. It doesn't change what happened to me. Even if I heal, even if like let's say 5 or 10 years down the road, I'm just feeling so great, and everything is just so wonderful, and I just feel so much better. I've released a lot of the stuff. It doesn't change the fact that I've been sexually abused as a child. It doesn't change my history at all. So that's where I need to learn how to let go of stuff, and in order to be able to walk free from this pain, because I'm still in pain. It's pretty obvious. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I'm not. I'm in an immense amount of pain, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and physically. Right? But I'll always be in physical pain. There isn't much you can do about that. But the other stuff, with my mind and my spirit and my soul, my being, eventually I hope to get to a place where I'm still not in so much pain. I'm still better off than I was. Like I'm saying, I'm better off than I was 5 years ago or 4.5 years ago. But I'm still in pain, and that's the whole issue. This stuff, it's going to take me a while to get through this, but that's why I'm working inner child healing work, because I really feel that that's what's necessary. I need to get in touch with that stuff that happened to me as a child. I knew this, I knew I was going to have to do it, and I knew I was going to have to face it, and I was going to have to mourn it and grieve it and get angry about it and whatever I needed to feel about it, and then learn how to let go of it, right? Because that's the issue. That's why I'm so, why I'm in so much pain. It's because I haven't released it. I'm still hanging on to it, still grieving it, still not grieving it, but still in that same place. Like I'm still in that pain, and that's the original pain work that I haven't really done yet, and that's the inner child, original pain work. So that's what I'm working on, and it just doesn't happen overnight because I still have to maintain my life. I have to maintain my job. I have to maintain my relationship with my sweetheart who's terminally ill, and who knows how long he's got. And like I have things I have to do. I have to pay bills, and I got to get up every day, and I got to try to figure out how I'm going to make enough money just to pay my bills, and life goes on, right? So in the meantime, I have to live, and I have to try to get things done. As far as looking after myself goes, I have absolutely no money to go do things, and even if I quit smoking, it still wouldn't cover it. Like people say, well, if you quit smoking, you might be able to do this and that. Well, it still wouldn't cover it because everything in Canada is so extremely expensive. You got to have insurance, and you got to have a really good paying job. This is a expensive place to live, and you can't get by on minimum wage. There's absolutely no way. And a bag of a little bag of sugar. Well, just for instance, a little can of coffee is like $12, $14 for a little tiny little can of coffee. Like a liter of milk is $7. Like we're paying outrageous prices up here, and so like my nerves are shot. I need my cigarettes. You know what I mean? Right now, I'll be honest with you. Like that's what I do. I don't drink, and I don't do drugs. I don't even do pain meds. I don't do Tylenol. Like I just live through my pain. I just deal with it because I'm in pain all the time, and I've been in pain since I was a kid. So this is just the issue. I decided not to take pain meds because I knew I was going to need them when I got older. And so I made that decision a long, long time ago, back when I had some surgery, when I had a car accident and was 18. I was already in pain, and then I knew I was going to be in worse pain, and I was like, okay, I'm going to have to deal with this, So I just deal with it, and I don't take anything else. I absolutely have to. And so I'm pretty well free except for cigarettes, And those are my crutch. That's my safety net. And really, I don't even want to try quitting that right now because that's what gets me through the day, to be honest with you. People would say, well, shouldn't it be God that gets you through the day? Well, yeah, You're exactly right. But the thing is for me, those are my little crutch, so I'm still using those. But there's, this is the thing. So I could probably get my teeth fixed if I quit smoking, like I need a whole lot of dental work, and, I need a whole lot of stuff done. And I don't have no insurance, and in Canada, if I have a heart attack or something, I could go to the hospital, no problem, it would be covered, but it just doesn't cover things like dental work and the types of things that I need, which are specialists. It doesn't cover a lot of that stuff. And like chiropractor stuff, it only covers a portion of chiropractor work and just different things like that. It doesn't cover hardly anything else, no extra special stuff. But it's great because if you end up with having to have surgery or some major thing done, like if my hip goes and I have to have my hip replaced or something, that'll be covered. But as far as getting my teeth fixed, that's just not covered, And so, like I have so much stuff that I need to get done as far as looking after myself, that sometimes it just becomes daunting. Sometimes it's just like, okay, why bother, Like, and that's where I get sometimes. It's like, like, why bother? Like, and then that's just part of this whole thing of growing up abused and nobody, like not getting any help and nobody showing me any care or concern at all. My mother knew what was going on, that my brother was raping me, and did nothing about it, And so my whole life, like I've just been suffering along and just dealing with it and thinking, oh, well, whatever, I'm just going to die anyway, so what does it really matter? So, like, these are the attitudes, really. This is the belief system, and this is my personality, it's my makeup, that I'm really working on changing. Because I need to value myself, Like I've heard, like I get other people tell me, okay, I value you. There's lots of people that have told me that in my lifetime, that they love me and they value me, and it wasn't my family, but it was friends. And, I have to value myself. I have to want to, like as survivors of abuse, we have to want to heal. We have to want to get help. We have to value ourselves. Like, this all has to come from somewhere deep inside of us, and it has to really manifest in there. It's because some days I can say, oh, yes, I value myself. Sure I do. And other days I'm like, you know what? No, I really don't. And I really can't wait till I leave this earth. Things like this, right? Even though I'm not going to take my own life, like I'm looking forward to being off this planet. And this is sad because this is a life that's been given to me, and for so many years, I thought, what a life, what a crap life I've been given. Thanks a lot, God. I was really mad at God for a long, long time, because I thought, how could you let this happen to me? How could I come into this place and end up in this situation? And and that's a sad way to live, and there's so many of us out here, so many, and that's what I know, That's why I'm doing these shows. But this is the thing. It's like, can I let go of that pain? Can I really feel something different? I don't know, because I've never felt anything different. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been able to wake up any other way than the way that I wake up today. You know what I mean? Which is with having to fight. Having to fight just to stay sane, having to fight just to maintain, not to kill myself, not to hurt myself, having to just, really protect myself, and that's from being abused as a child. And, and also with this knowledge that life can be really, really hard. It's like, I wouldn't wish this on anybody, you know what I mean? And there's other people that have worse lives than myself. I look around the world and I see what's going on with people around the world, and I'm like, my God, I don't even know how they get up the next day. And this is the issue. There's so many people who are so much worse off. And I think about it and I think, you know what? It's the human nature to fight. Right? We'll have to get back to, wow, I just talked away the whole half hour. But anyway, we'll have to get back to this on Thursday. So that's what we'll do on Thursday. We'll pick back up here. But I want to actually cover a lot of the inner child healing work that she's got here, and looking at the anger work and more of that stuff. So it's a great website. I hope you will check it out. That's www.soul-expressions-abuse-recovery.com. Soul Expressions Abuse Recovery. So if you type into your browser Soul Expression Abuse Recovery, you'll probably bring it up. And so yeah, thanks everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. But this is just it. We have to keep going. This is why I'm doing this, because out of desperation, 4.5 years ago, I was like, I can't keep living like this, in this pain. I can't keep living like this. I need to change this. And so this is what she's saying. Are we willing to let go of the pain and actually feel something different? Can we do that? Absolutely. I believe it's doable. I've seen other people have done it, right? And so, but we have to keep working on it. So if you're in this position and you're suffering and you're just thinking, oh my God, is it ever going to get better? Not if you give up. My two brothers killed themselves, and so it never got better for them, you know. And so we have to keep going and go through the days. There's going to be more bad days. Everybody has bad days. There isn't anybody on the planet that doesn't have a bad day or a bad thing going on in their life. We're going to have bad days. It's not going to be all roses and flowers and sunshine. But we need to hang on there and realize that, hey, through those bad days, be good to ourselves, be gentle to ourselves, treat ourselves well, and, look for a better day, right? Because we do need to continue on, and we need to find the answers, and we need to find out how to feel differently, how to be out of this pain, and how to release it. And there is some really good information coming. I'm going to actually be working on this for a while, so be sure and check this out. But if if you're having a hard time coping and whatnot, you call a crisis line. You do whatever you have to do, but you make sure you stick around and you get some help. We do deserve to have a good life, and we deserve to have a decent life and be treated decently and be treated with respect and love and dignity. And the only way that's going to happen is if we stick around and make sure that happens, right? So make sure you stick around, get some help, whatever help it may be, right? Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. I'll be back on Child Abuse Prevention. It's up to us. Wednesday night, and then Thursday morning we'll pick back up here on Thursday morning. Have a great week, everybody. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.